Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and I'm just going to show you what I would call kind of the basic DIY tool list of different items that you might want to purchase when you buy your first home or when you decide you're going to take on some projects. We'll kind of start out with the real basic stuff over at this end, and we'll work our way around to things that you can kind of upgrade to as time moves along. So if we go right down here, you kind of get into the basic stuff, that you might carry in your tool pouch or that sort of thing. Works for a variety of all different kinds of projects. Right down the front, we've got a couple different sizes of levels. So obviously, some point, maybe you're building a shed or a fence or a wall or whatever, that's definitely going to come in handy. They'll give you a level, horizontal level, as well as a vertical plumb test. So then as we move up the table here, we've got just a simple hand stapler, stapling up some poly or plastic, even as a dust shield when you're doing some work. We've got a chalk line for snapping a straight line on some wood that maybe you want to cut or follow. Tape measure, obviously. Small pry bar. This is one you'll see me use in a lot of videos. Actually, this is a little bit shorter version, but just a small, slim red bar. A little bit larger pry bar, if you've got to tear some stuff apart, you're definitely going to need that. This one's nice and heavy. You can beat on it with your hammer if you need to get between a couple pieces of wood. Stud finder. Even if you own an apartment, you're probably going to want a stud finder for hanging pictures and that sort of thing. Utility knife, same thing. Everybody should have one. Caulking gun, again, comes in real handy. There's always something you've got to seal up or whatever. So that's definitely a good idea. These do come in a couple different sizes, but this smaller size here is what the average person's going to use most of the time. So moving right on up, we've got the large framing square. Now, it might not be a necessity, but there's going to be times when you're going to find that comes in real handy. There's a small little combination square here. This end slides, so that works really well for a lot of projects, and it's fairly easy to carry right on you if you have to. Hammer, obviously. A screwdriver with adjustable interchangeable bits. So this one has a whole bunch of different bits, the different shapes and sizes you need all within the handle. It's nice and compact, and you've got everything, most of the common bits you're going to need right with you. A decent size selection of drill bits. So this one just happens to have all kinds of sizes right in the package, so that's really good to have too. Some type of adjustable wrench. There's always going to be a bolt or something that needs tightening up. A pair of slip joint pliers, sometimes called water pump pliers. Extension cord. You're always going to need something. You don't need to go and run out and buy a 100-foot cord. 25-foot or even a couple 25s will get you through most projects. A couple little putty knives or scrapers, for doing painting or patching up some drywall holes. Those are kind of your basic, handheld sort of tools that you can, just about everybody can use at some point, and not real expensive either. Then as you move along, you could start out with an electric drill if you wanted to, but nowadays the cordless drills are, they're really coming down in price. You don't have to go and buy the top of the line drill. Some of them are coming in sets, so you'd get the drill driver plus the impact driver. If you're going to be doing a lot of screws, the impact driver is what I would recommend for that. It basically has a little bit of a hammering action while it's turning, and it really prevents the slippage that a lot of people get when they're trying to drive a screw with a normal drill, where the bit slips in the head of the screw. So if you're going to build a deck or something like that where you're putting a lot of screws up, that's definitely the baby. It's going to be well worth the money. And like I said, those sometimes will come in sets of two. You might get a couple batteries and both drills and a charger for, depending on the brand, a couple $100 or $300. So with a lot of the drills, this is just a drill driver, so a lot of them will have a bit of a selection or a bit of adjustment up somewhere on them for just drilling holes, driving screws, and this one here also has a hammer drill type function as well as a lot of them, the chucks have a clutch system on, so you don't overdrive your screws all the time. But the hammer drill function on this is quite nice if you've got to do some minor, you know, holes into masonry and that sort of thing. It's definitely going to come in handy. So, and then moving along, these three items here, I've got them just in the cordless version for the display, but you can get the jigsaw, the reciprocating saw, or the circular saw in the cordless version as well now, and most of them are really good. So, you know, you might even find a whole kit with interchangeable batteries that of all these items that you can use, and then you've always got lots of batteries too. But circular saw, great to have. You're going to use that a lot. Reciprocating saw, if you're going to do a lot of demo, this is the tool. You can't go wrong by buying a recip saw. I wouldn't buy the real cheap ones. You know, get something kind of middle of the road to start out with if you can, and it's going to last a long time and do a lot of work for you. So really good tool to have. Jigsaw, not everybody's going to need it, but when it comes down to, you know, if you're building a little bit of outdoor furniture, or you know, need to cut some holes, maybe cut the sink out in your countertop, or cut the hole out for your countertop for the sink. Good idea. So that's the jigsaw. Right down the front, I've got the random orbital sander. If you got a lot of sanding to do, maybe you got to sand your fence down, or you know, your floor or whatever. This is definitely the tool to get. Hand sanding really sucks. That's going to do a great job for you. And there's all kinds of different sandpapers that you can get for them, different grits, and in this case this one just velcros on and off, so really easy to use. It does have a bit of a dust bag. They don't all work as far as collecting all the dust real well, but it can help. Now, the other thing you might need is a wet dry vacuum. So this is a little bit smaller one that I just have kicking around in my shop all the time for little things. You can get all kinds of different sizes. You don't need a big monster in most cases. You know, this will do a lot of what you need. But as soon as you start renovating, there's going to be dust and dirt, and especially with drywall, you don't want to be using your residential vacuum for that. So you want one of these babies, and most of them will come with bags that you can put in them too, which really helps filter out the drywall dust, so it isn't exhausting back into the room for you. Okay, as I move around the corner here, you know, we're starting to get into the little bit more specialty tools. You know, so you may not need some of this stuff right away. So right here I've got a 10-inch compound miter saw, and this one isn't the sliding version. For most people, this is going to do a lot of what you need to do. If you really need to get into something really heavy duty, here's a 10-inch. This is actually a 12-inch compound sliding saw, but you know, this is a $700 saw or whatever, where this one here, you know, for a couple $100 you're going to get a pretty good saw. So I would recommend you start out with this unless you really have the need for something that big. This is going to do a lot of what you need, and you know, even as simple as cutting fence boards, instead of using the circular saw, this will work just fine, and it'll kind of speed it up for you as well. And then you know, maybe you're going to do a bunch of trim, door casing, window casing, that sort of thing, baseboards. Yeah, you can go around and hammer those nails in and nail it all on, but if you've got a lot to do, you know, fairly inexpensively, you could pick up a set sometimes of 3 of these for under $300, but you know, you need some kind of small compressor, a brad nailer. I'd recommend usually an 18 gauge would be the best to start with, and then you're going to need some kind of hose. So then this over here, of course this isn't really a specialty item, but you're going to probably want some type of sawhorses. I like these folding plastic ones. Some of the brands, they're not real sturdy. This particular one is, and I haven't been able to find them anymore, but the second I do, I'm going to buy about 10 more of them. But you can see that these are well used. I use them painting, cutting, everything. So you definitely want some kind of sawhorse. Down in the front, not everybody's going to need a table saw, but you know, it really will come in handy. So if you can afford to get a small portable saw, I would definitely do it, but you probably don't need it starting out, but it's definitely something you should look at down the road. So you know, just to kind of wrap up, quite honestly, everything you see here, you can probably purchase it, go out and purchase it all for under $1,000 if you're really thrifty. You know, you're obviously not going to have some of the name brands that I have sitting here probably to get under that price point, but realistically you could probably go out and for under $1,000, other than the table saw. The stuff up here you could go out and pick up and probably not spend more than $1,000. I think it's well worth it. You're definitely going to need something. Some of this stuff you can rent, so you know, if it's out of your price range, or you only need it for one project, or you're not sure if you really want to own those items, check out your rental store, because a lot of times you can get, you know, some of this bigger stuff right at the rental shop, or specialty items for particular projects. So I think that kind of wraps it up. I hope this video was kind of helpful. We've been getting a lot of questions about, you know, what tools should I buy, so we thought this would be a good idea, just to kind of give you a bit of a breakdown of the basics. So again, if you have any questions, go to our forum, check it out. You can find that on our website at house-improvements.com. Go to the link for the forums and post up your questions, and I'll be sure to answer them. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and just keep in touch with what's going on here at houseimprovements.com. Thanks for watching.